travel far, now retreating.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today we're finally building the Copperdale High School. Now let me tell you guys, this is a long one. So grab yourselves like a coffee or a tea or a snack because it's gonna take a while. Okay, so I know I'm a bit like late to the game here. The high school years pack has been out for a while, but I still wanted to build a Copperdale High School. I wasn't actually sure if I was gonna do it now, so I did have a poll on the community tab and also on Instagram and Twitter asking you guys, because I was debating whether I should do the 100 baby dream house, the not so berry houses, or the high school first, which I will do all of these. The majority voted for the high school, so there you go. So I was inspired by this picture. And also about this, I had a poll because I had some inspiration pictures, like a couple, and I wasn't sure which kind of style I wanted to go for. And I think I had a poll on Instagram about this, and the majority voted for this one, which I was quite surprised because this is very like steampunky, you know? The image, I found that on Pinterest, of course, is quite steampunky. Now I know like my take on this didn't turn out very steampunky, like it looks totally different. But still, like the inspiration picture is pretty like has steampunk vibes to me for sure. Yeah, I didn't really think like people would vote for that. So anyway, I did decide to go for this, and honestly, I haven't built on a 64 by 64 lot in ages. Like it has been a while. And I did actually talk about this on the community tab too, because I was like overwhelmed by this, you know, kind of when I had the basic structure done of the build that I found like in the inspiration picture, which is kind of like the front of the build, and which is what you see now. I was done with kind of like the main structure that I was going for. And I still only covered like 1/4 of the whole lot. So, by the way, this is your reminder to subscribe. Yeah, I didn't really know what to do, you know, with the rest of the lot. So, that did take me a while to figure that out. But yeah, in the end, I decided to just wing it a little bit, and I think the main thing that helped me like fill out the whole lot was that I decided to include like an inner courtyard kind of thing where yeah, the students could just like hang out, and I kind of liked the idea of that anyway, so I decided to include that, and that kind of helped me fill a bit more space because, you know, you had like this big area where there was just like a courtyard in the center of the lot. So yeah, I actually don't really know what happened because when I started building in The Sims 4 and also when I started this YouTube channel, I tended to go for 64 by 64 lots all the time. Like that was kind of like my main thing. I felt so comfortable building on big lots like that, and I don't know what happened, but it's definitely not like that anymore, like at all. It's it totally changed. Like I see the slot size and I'm just like, you know, it's just like overwhelming, you know. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I used to be quite good at that. Yeah, I don't know, but I did manage to get there in the end. So yeah, it's just gonna take a minute, you know. Okay, so this is where the building already looks like totally different from the inspiration picture, because I decided to go for this red brick, which makes the build look like a lot more traditional. And yeah, just it doesn't have steampunk vibes at all, like my take on this, except maybe for the glass roof and kind of the structure around the glass roof, that kind of thing. But other than that, it really does look just like a very old traditional kind of building, you know. Now I am aware that this is more, well, like the student, this would definitely be like a private school, you know. There's absolutely no question about that. This probably wouldn't be a public school. And I do know that this kind of turned out to look more like a university, I guess. It's just huge, and yeah, I don't know. It just kind of looks like something that a very like expensive American university would look like, you know. But I mean, I just decided to go with it because I mean, it's The Sims, you know, it's not real life, so you can do whatever you want. So that's what I did. And yeah, I mean, like, I live in Germany and I am from Germany. And in Germany, we don't really have that kind of private school kind of thing. I mean, we do have private schools, but I think, like, typically in the US, where you would have private schools, I think it's like, you know, you would have to pay to go to the school. You know, your parents or whatever relatives would have to pay in order for you to be able to go to that school. And it's like a very prestigious kind of thing. It's not like that in Germany at all. We do have private schools, but you don't have to pay to go there. Like, they're still funded. They're not like necessarily like better schools. Yeah, I mean, it's oftentimes they're like kind of Christian schools or something like that. So yeah, so it's just a very different thing in Germany, and they definitely wouldn't look like that. I mean, in general, like, schools in Germany wouldn't necessarily, like, they wouldn't typically look like that. I mean, we do obviously have some old school buildings, you know, we do have old schools in Germany, and some of them look a little like this, you know, but they would be much more run down, you know, they wouldn't be maintained like at all. So yeah, I know this isn't like, definitely in Germany, this wouldn't be realistic at all. But again, this is The Sims, so who cares? Yeah, so this is the glass roof, and I did include these kinds of, I don't even know what that is. That pretty sure is from Debug, and it's probably base game. It's just like, these rounded things that I wanted to look like they are kind of like a support for the roof or something like that. There was something like that in the inspiration picture as well. Yeah, which made me think that it would make sense to include this. And I think it looks kind of cool. And this is probably the only kind of steampunky aspect of this whole build, with the metal and all. But yeah, I mean, not really, you know. But I still think it looks pretty cool. And yeah, I wanted to build this like the entrance area is like completely open. You will see that in a second. And you can actually, like, when you walk into the main entrance of the school, you could actually look up and you see this beautiful glass roof, and you can see the sky, and the sun like comes through the roof and has like these beautiful shadows. And yeah, but you will see that in a second. So we are on to the interior now, and this is actually a theater. So I was trying to make this look as realistic as possible, like to make this build as realistic as possible. And again, like, I'm gonna speak basically only on like what it's like in Germany, because that's where I went to school. That's where I know what schools look like. And it's very like typical in German to have a theater, you know. It's you would just have that, and I'm pretty sure it's like that in other countries too, because well, yeah, I mean, there would be some sort of area where there would be a stage with like with an audience where people would speak, you know, and have speeches, or yeah, some sort of like events or whatever, you know. I think that would be quite a typical thing. And obviously this theater in the game, it's not really functional, as in like your Sims won't have theater plays in the school, you know. That's just not a gameplay aspect of this pack. However, I did put down these marks that we got with Get Famous, you know, the little yellow cross things. And so your Sims can technically act there, so they can practice their acting skills. And that does work. So, I mean, technically the theater is functional. It's just not really gonna be we have a school play kind of thing, you know, but they can still act there. And I kind of felt like it's a cute thing, you know. It's kind of funny. Maybe they want to be, some of the students, some of the teens want to be actors, and so they could just practice their skills there. And this is kind of like a little backstage room. And I was really inspired by my school that I went to, because we did have like a theater kind of in the same size as this. And there was like a backstage kind of area. So when you left the stage and went backstage, you would have like this tiny little room where you would keep like all the costumes and props and whatever, and where we would get changed and like put makeup on, and it would be very small, you know, so and very cramped and not very tidy. So, but I loved that. I mean, for me, it was kind of obvious that I had to include a theater because I mean, I used to work as an actress and a singer, and I have been on stage kind of my whole life. And in school, that was my favorite thing. You know, I wasn't really much into school, but theater, that was just my jam, you know. So I loved it, and I felt very at home, even in this kind of very untidy kind of backstage area. That was just like, that was it for me, you know. So obviously I had to include it into this build, and I do really love how this turned out, like all the clutter. And I used these clothing racks that also came with high school years, which I'm pretty sad that they aren't really functional as a closet, by the way. I think that would make a lot of sense, but yeah, it's still cute like that. Yeah, and this is the cafeteria, and I did change that slightly because you can see here I put down, well, obviously I put down like the cafeteria buffet, I don't know what that's called, like the counter that came with high school years, but I also placed the, again, I don't know what that's called, it also came with high school years, I'm pretty sure it's like a bubble tea counter or something like that, which I did delete afterwards because I did playtest this, of course, but I did actually, like, the only way to playtest this build is to really go into gameplay and have your Sims go to school and follow them into school and like test everything out. I mean, I always play test, but usually it's just like, you know, you just check like if they can access the bed or the fridge or, you know, that kind of thing. So this was like playtesting to the next level, you know. Anyway, so they didn't like, they couldn't order lunch because, you know, when there's lunchtime in school, there will be like a server appearing in the cafeteria. And for some reason, the server always was like at the bubble tea counter, and they always served at the bubble tea counter. And I couldn't order them to change to the cafeteria counter. It didn't work. And the Sims couldn't order anything off the bubble tea counter, but they also couldn't order anything off the cafeteria counter. So I don't know why, like that doesn't really make sense, but I just deleted the bubble tea counter, so you only have the normal cafeteria one, and that works fine now, so you shouldn't have any problems there at all. And yeah, and by the way, like the cafeteria is huge. I know, like as I said, I was trying to make this as realistic as possible. And for a big school like that, you would obviously have to have like a big cafeteria. And it's kind of sad because in the game, you know, when you have your Sims go to the cafeteria for lunch, there would be like, I don't know, 10 Sims, maybe 15 to the max. And it's just, you can kind of see that in the cinematic shots in the end. It kind of looks very sad, you know, these kind of three Sims just eating their lunch in this huge room. Anyway, I kept it as it is because, as I said, I wanted to make this look realistic. So yeah, and this is the entrance area, what I was talking about. And you can already see like the shadows of the glass roof, which I just love that. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, like in general, I love the lighting and the shadows in The Sims 4. I think that's just, especially the lighting is just beautiful. So yeah, I know this isn't like for gameplay, this isn't like the most, the best thing to have an open area like that. So the whole kind of, the ground floor, the front part of the ground floor is all open. There's no closed off doors, you know, like no closed off areas. It's all open. I know that isn't really like the best thing for gameplay because like in winter it would be freezing. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to have this open kind of effect. And I mean, the idea, just imagine walking through that main entrance, which is like so impressive in itself, and walking in there, looking up, and then you can just see the sky. and it's just so high, you know, it's 3 stories high, the building, I think. And you know, that would just be like, that would make like such an impact, I think. Okay, so my camera just died, so I don't know what I was just talking about, but anyway, so yeah, we're on to the lockers now, and there are a lot of lockers in this whole build. Like there's like so many. You don't have to worry about your Sims like not finding a locker or whatever. They will definitely, each Sim will have one. There won't be any problems. This is the classrooms, and now for this, I had the idea to have different classrooms for different subjects. So this would just be a normal classroom, and like this first one that you see right now. And well, I don't know about other countries, although I think in the US it would be like, you know, the teachers would have their rooms and the students would come to the room. I think that's what it is. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not like that in Germany. It's actually the other way around. So, you know, there would be, let's say you're in 7th grade, and you would have, in 7th grade, there would be like 4 or 5 different classes, you know, from A to D. That's kind of what we do, 7A, B, C, and D. And each of those classes would have their own classroom. And that's kind of what I was going after here, because it's quite typical for a classroom in Germany to have like a lot of storage space for the students to leave their stuff, you know, for example, these kind of shelving units where they can just leave their backpacks and books and, like, I don't know, projects that they're working on or whatever. So I was trying to kind of incorporate that into this classroom, this specific one. And then now we're onto the next classroom, and I was thinking that, like, you know, you would have different rooms for different subjects. Well, that's what it's like in Germany anyway. I know I just keep rambling on about what it's like in Germany. You're probably like, you don't care. You're super bored, but I mean, that's just what I know. So yeah, like for example, this would be like the biology room. And typically in Germany, we would have like specific classrooms or specific rooms for, especially for scientific subjects like biology, chemistry, physics, not maths, but these other ones. And we would also have like specific rooms for arts and music. And yeah, so there would be like, because I mean, it makes sense because you would have like, you would need specific equipment and like, you know, that kind of stuff. So that was the biology room, and I did actually use these that kind of operation tables that came with cats and dogs. Yeah, because I don't know, I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. And this would be like the kind of like a chemistry, physics kind of, yeah, something in between. So yeah, like there I would just include these element kind of things that we have. And also I did include these, I forget which pack they came from, but they're kind of like these tables where you can just do like experiments on, I think. Or maybe it's, I don't know. I don't remember what it is exactly, but I did think they look kind of fitting for this kind of classroom. And the Sims can actually use those. I mean, they will still use these classrooms, and they will sit at the normal desks. So if there's a normal class, they will just sit at the normal desks. But they can still also use like the skill building items, which I thought also is kind of cool for gameplay, because you can spend a lot of time in school, and it's kind of cool if the Sims have like some stuff to do. Maybe they just want to build some skills, and they can do that in school. And they have a lot of free time, by the way. Like in gameplay, I think like they have morning free time for like 2.5 hours or something. Or 2 hours or whatever. That's kind of crazy, you know, like who gets to school that early, and which school only starts at 10 o'clock? Like, in Germany, some schools start like before 8. So anyway, yeah, so I had different classrooms. That was just like a computer science room, which they do have that subject in The Sims 2, which is kind of funny. And now I'm working on a kind of like a hangout kind of area for students. And we do have those in Germany. Like they would typically be for older students because typically older students would have like a lot of free time in between classes. So it would obviously make sense to have like some sort of area for them where they can just hang out, like senior students. And we did have one like that in my school. And I mean, it definitely wasn't as fancy as this one, but we did have a foosball table as well. And we did have like a bunch of sofas, and I actually kind of liked it. It was pretty comfy. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of run down. It wasn't as cool as this one for sure. But I kind of thought maybe the students just brought their own stuff, you know, they just brought it in from home or whatever. And this is obviously quite a rich school for rich kids. So yeah. And I did divide it into two kind of areas. And the left one is more like a kind of playing games, having fun. They have darts, they have the foosball table, they have a stereo and that kind of stuff. And the right side would more be like a chill out area where the Sims could, like the students could just relax a little. We have these lounge chairs, and I did also put down some computers because maybe they want to just study or I don't know, prepare for an exam or whatever. And they can definitely do all that there, which I think is kind of cute. And I did put down this one poster that said, like this one, you know, I forget which pack that came from. Maybe Strangerville, I don't know. But I thought it kind of makes sense. And it's kind of cute, you know, just to make sure that they have a bit of peace and quiet over there. And yeah, so this is the hangout area for like senior students. I really love this room. That might actually be my favorite of the whole kind of school. And yeah, this is the library, which also I thought makes sense. I think every school has a library, you know, and this is like just a plain library. There's not much going on there. The Sims do go there. Like as I said, I play tested this, and they do actually use everything. Like they do go to all rooms. They do even, like I put a lot of desks here as well with computers where again they can just study or whatever, and they do that. Like they use those. And I was kind of surprised because we don't have the, like in the game there's no like feature for the Sims like in the school to actually go to a library or, you know, do anything in the library, anything like gameplay specific. So I was kind of surprised that they still use this room because, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you get what I mean. But they do that, and that's pretty cool. Oh, and by the way, there are bathrooms on every floor. I did make sure to include that on every floor because I know like Sims can take ages to do stuff, you know, and when they want to go to the toilet, for whatever reason, they just stand there for half an hour until they start walking and start going to the toilet. So I did make sure to include that on every floor. So you should be good there. And yeah, we're on the third floor now. This is the art room. And yeah, I did just put like a lot of easels, and it's kind of, I made sure that the arts room and the music room are very like isolated, because it's definitely like that in Germany, or it can be like that because yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially for art and music. You would have to have like a lot of specific equipment. Like you would have lots of like canvases and paint and whatever, you know, and you would need like a lot of space to store all that. So and also for music, of course, you would have to have like instruments and yeah, like technical equipment. So I kind of felt like that makes sense to have those on a like isolated area where, you know, there's like a bunch of space to put all these things. And yeah, that's what I'm doing here. And they do have everything they would need to form a band. They do have actually also have like a grand piano and also DJ station, which I don't know. I thought it would be kind of cool. Maybe some teenage sim wants to become a DJ or whatever, and they can just build their skill there. Yeah, so technically they have everything they need for a band except for a drum set. And I'm actually so sad that we can't have actual bands in The Sims 4. Because, you know, we have a keyboard, we have electric guitars, we have acoustic guitars, we have microphones. We actually have like these monitor, like these speakers, you know, that they can use to perform. And we have everything we need except for the drum set. And I don't know, I think that would be so cool, you know, for the Sims to be able to have a band and have band practice and whatever. Yeah, I'm kind of sad that we can't do that. Anyway, so I think this is the last room that I'm showing you on the interior. And obviously we also have like a principal's office. There's also a space for the teachers to hang out, like a teacher's kind of room. I'm not showing you that because they're just boring. There's not much going on there. So yeah, this is the last room. This is the gymnasium, as he called it, I think. So there's a basketball court. And they also have showers down there, of course, toilets. They have like changing rooms where there's again a bunch of lockers. So you're all set there. They have a bunch of like basketballs, footballs, you know, footballs for American football and footballs for soccer. So you're all set there as well. And also we have cheerleading mats, so they can also practice cheerleading there. And yeah, that's kind of cool, I think, you know, to have a gym like that. And yeah, this is the inner courtyard, and I absolutely love this. Like, I love the idea of having this kind of place that's just surrounded by the building, and you're just like surrounded by this old, beautiful building that houses just like a lot of like culture and a lot of experience, if you can say that. And yeah, I kind of love that. It's kind of like a very romantic thing in my opinion. So yeah, I did include that, and I have these planter boxes all around the perimeter, like all around the around the walls, and those actually also came with high school years, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. They have this kind of metallic kind of thing. I don't know what you call that, but they are just gorgeous. And yeah, I just used a lot of like plants and greenery inside. And then they have this coffee area here, which unfortunately doesn't really, like, there won't be a server, so they can't really get coffee there. I mean, technically you could probably just hire someone, but yeah, they wouldn't like go there and have a coffee. But they can still like get something from the vending machines, and then they can still sit there and chat and just hang out, you know. And it's just like a very pretty and beautiful area in my opinion. And it just, I would definitely hang out there. Like if I had a school like that, this would be the place where I would hang out, you know, in these kind of comfy armchairs and just have a coffee. And yeah, I absolutely love that. That might be my favorite place on the outside. Like the hangout area for the senior students would be my favorite area on the inside, and this would be my favorite on the outside, I think. And also I did include this thing. I think that also came with the high school year pack. Yeah, it just has a bunch of information, and I just placed that in the center. And I thought that kind of made sense to put it there because there would obviously be like a lot of notifications about, I don't know, if there's like a class that isn't, like a teacher's sick and you don't have a class, and or like about the next game or the next play, school play or whatever. So I did place that there as well. And then now I'm just working on the exterior, and as you can see, there's still like so much space. Like when I was done with the building, and I did already include the inner courtyard and add like a bunch of extra building around it, I still had so much space, and I did actually struggle a lot. I didn't know what to do with it for the longest time. And then I decided to place down these this area where you can just leave your bikes, like for the students. And we did have these roofs. They came with the high school years pack. And we also got like other roofs that I will use on the other side in a second. And these things where I just put the bikes inside, they came with Snowy Escape, and I don't actually know what they are. I think they kind of are something that attaches to a wall, really, actually. But yeah, I just used them for the bikes, and I think that kind of, yeah, it works very, very well in my opinion. Yeah, so this is the other side, and this is kind of like a parking lot. Which, yeah, I mean, you would obviously have like some sort of parking lot for the teachers, and like maybe like a special parking place for the principal or something. So yeah, usually I don't really like to include cars because they're not functional, and they're not like, I'm not really a fan of cars. So I don't really like, to me, they don't look great, you know. It's not like it doesn't amp up the building for me, you know, so typically I don't do that. But in this case, I kind of thought it makes sense. And since I did have the space, you know, I did do it. And then for the landscaping, I used the same plants all around the entire build. So what I typically do is I use Tool, like I do the landscaping once in one place, and then I just use Tool and copy paste the items and, you know, the plants, and just, you know, use them all over the place, because, you know, otherwise you would just have to select every single individual plant, and that's just such a pain. So yeah, that's what I typically do, and that saves me a lot of time. And this area, I actually just included that because I really had no idea what to do with that space. And yeah, it's just kind of like an area for the Sims to hang out. And I kind of thought that would be a place for maybe more like a community space, not only for the students or the teachers, but more for like, you know, for the parents, maybe if there's like a parent evening or whatever, and they can just like wait there, have a coffee or whatever. That's kind of what I had in mind there. And this is kind of like an outdoor eating area, like an outdoor lunch kind of area, maybe like an outdoor cafeteria, if you could say that. I thought that kind of makes sense. I thought that was kind of cool, you know. Maybe in summer you want to, like, the students want to eat outside, and so I did just include a bunch of tables there. They will not do that, like they will have the lunch in the cafeteria. But yeah, I mean, you can force your Sims to eat there, you know. You can just have them take their plate to that table and just have them eat there. You can always do that. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of cute. Yeah, and this is another outdoor area where there's just a bunch of like outdoor activities, and yeah, just because I didn't really know what to do with the space again. Yeah, so this is it for this video. I know it was a long one. I still hope that you enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, and of course subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Enjoy the cinematic shots in the end, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Travel far, now retreating. I've longed for this place for so long. Now I lay me down, I belong. And I breathe in the air fresh from the blessed Midwest. I am held by the forest where I go for rest, and washed by the water